Is not started. Okay, it started. Thank you. So what we learned till now, we learned about a kind of we got an overview of AWS Management Console, and after that, the first resource which we started looking for is IAM, which is Identity and Access Management. We learned that IAM is used to grant permissions to users by creating users, user group, and all. And today we'll learn more about IAM. We'll see various sort of policies which can be created, how with the use of IAM we can grant privileges, we'll be able to restrict privileges. We'll see that more in lab. Okay, I think we have a new joinee, Vaibhav. Hi, Vaibhav.
Hi, sir.
Hi. So welcome, Vaibhav, in this session.
Thank you.
So, Vaibhav, basically this program is for AWS DevOps. And as of now, we had just two sessions. In the first session, I gave a kind of introduction on what this course is about, and a kind of introduction on cloud computing. And in the last session, which happened last Friday, I just started discussing about the first service, which is IAM, Identity and Access Management. So nothing much which we have covered, though we have everything recorded. We do have all the sessions, previous two sessions were recorded. So please go through those recordings. And in case if you do have any doubt, you can ask me. Though as we did not cover much, I don't think there will be any problem for you being a part of this session. Yeah, sounds good to you?
Okay, sure, sir. I will go
Cool.
through the recorded.
So now let's begin. So in our last session, the user which we created is demo user. And today we will see how this demo user will be able to log in. Now, in order to log in with your normal root user account, what we have done is we had a AWS Management Console, and with the AWS Management Console, we put in our username, which was email address, and the password, which we set while creating our account. And that's it. We were able to log in. But once we created this user, which is the demo user in our last session, how this user will log in. Now, AWS do have certain restrictions. In one browser, if you will log in with two different user accounts, then only affinity of only one account will be valid. So say in case if I'm logging in with a root user and is trying to log in with a with some other user, maybe I am user in the same browser, then either my first user account, which is the root user account, will be logged out automatically. So we'll not be able to log in into by using two different user account in the same browser. So in order to do that, what I'll do is I'll open another browser in incognito window and I'll log in for demo user in that window. Now this user, you see, this is the user which I created in a last account. This is having ARN, which is Amazon resource number. So what Amazon does, any of the resource which we create in Amazon, Amazon allocates a unique ID to that number, which is unique to that account. So perhaps the name demo user could be another user in another account, but in this account, I cannot have another user with the same name, which is demo user. So this is the unique ID, which is assigned by AWS, by AWS API, you can say, or AWS management component to this specific user which I created. Other than this, it is having permissions, the permission which I assigned, which is the administrator access group, which is a part of demo group, and tags, which I had assigned in the while creating this user, and security credential. I'll talk in few minutes. Now, permissions, like the way we learned, permission is administrator access, which we assigned till now, and this permission is granted by this user demo group of which this user is a part of. So this permission is not assigned directly to this user, rather it is assigned to a group. And since this user, demo user, is a part of this group, this user is inheriting those privileges. So now let's log in with this user. In order to log in, what I'll do is, you see, as I click on AWS, this IAM dashboard, as I clicked on this IAM dashboard, I landed to this page. And in this page, I do have at the right side, I have AWS account, account alias, and this URL. This is the sign-in URL for IAM users in this account. Like the way sign-in URL for AWS Management Console is console.aws.amazon.com. This is the URL to log in into AWS Management Console. Similarly, to log in to for this account, sign-in URL for IAM user is this. Now, either I can remember the account ID or I can create account alias. So, account ID is like the way we learned, account ID is 12, 12 digit, 12 digit value, which is very tough at times to remember. So, what we do is we create one account alias just to give a name of our own comfort, which we can easily remember. So, what I'll do, I'll create one account alias. And what is the purpose of account alias creation? Account alias creation is just to hide the complexity, the trouble of remembering 12 numbered account ID. So now I'll create one alias. Let's give a name, which is demo account. And I created one alias. Account alias demo account already exists. Okay, fine. It already exists, no problem. So I'll give a name, which is demo account, and I'll put today's date, 17/11/25. Okay, now it's created. Now this I'll be remembering my account with this alias rather than remembering it with the account ID, which is very tough to remember. I can easily remember with this account alias. So now I'll just use this URL to log in, and I'll go to the
Sir,
browser.
is this for root user or
This account ID is created by root user, but I've assigned this account ID to this account. So not for root user only. Any of the IAM user who is trying to log in into this account will use this account alias.
oh, everybody will use the same
Correct.
alias?
Yes. So
Okay.
rather than remembering, rather than using this account ID, so either this or
Yes.
this. But account
Yes.
ID is tough to remember, so account alias.
Correct. And what is this URL used for?
This URL is in order to log in into AWS console, we need a URL. Now, by default, AWS offers this URL, which is console.aws.amazon.com. This is by default URL by AWS. But now since this URL, since I have created a user, which is IAM user within my account, AWS says that you use some different URL for your account rather than using a generic URL, which is
Okay.
this URL. So this is the URL which will be used by my user, IAM user, which is created in this account only. Nobody else can use. You won't be
Okay.
able to use this because for you, this URL will be different. Okay, sounds good.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Cool. So now you see what happened. This also changed. Now instead of the account ID which was appearing before, now it starts showing it the account alias because I replaced it. So now I'll just copy this URL and I'll come to this incognito and I'll hit it here. Now, as I do that, it will open a login window. And this login window, now AWS do have a feature. When we go into a screen sharing session, I don't know, it's loading, it's a bit slower. And this happened many a times. I've seen with Teams also, it behaves quite the same. Okay. So now you see, as this is loaded, it is getting this account ID or alias by its own. I did not provide it. It is getting this ID by its own. Why? Because the URL itself contained this account alias in it. Now next it's asking for IAM username. You see, previously what we did, we signed in using a root user email, but this time it's asking for IAM user, which is demo user for me. And the password, which I set in the last session, hope I remember it. Yes, I remember it. So now I'm able to log in. Okay, so now I am into this. Now you will see the difference in between privileges of a root user and IAM user. As of now, what I've done, to this IAM user, I have provided administrator privileges. Administrator privileges will have lots of rights, lots of access will be granted to administrator user. So if I go to IAM, and you see at the right top this time the right top says demo account 171125 and the user is demo user. You see right top. But if I go to my root user account, the user is different. Technical training, which is my root user, and it's just showing the account ID. So these two are two different users. Incognito is the IAM user and the normal browser is my root user. Now here, if I go to IAM, since this user is at this point is a part of administrator user group, will have lots of privileges. So IAM user will show quite the same sort of interface which I was able to see with the root user account because it's having the administrator privileges. But we'll try to cut down the permissions now. And I'll say don't show again and say users. You see similar sort of privileges are there. Perhaps if I go to demo user, I'll be able to do lots of things. I'm getting the permissions to delete it also. And if I click on delete, it will be able to delete also. If I click on create user and give some username, test user, and I'll just try to create one and say next and say create user. Yes, I'm able to create user also with demo users. With demo
Sir,
user, I'm able
can you explain the purpose of incognito one more time, please?
uh, incognito because AWS says in the same browser you won't be able to log in with two different user credentials. Now, in case if I would have used the same IAM user credential to log in my normal browser, then what it would have done? It would have logged me out from root user credential because AWS doesn't allow it. And that is the reason I'm logging in my normal browser with my root user credentials and in incognito window, I'm logging in with my with my IAM user credentials. That is the main purpose of it. It's like two different browsers,
Yes, got it.
nothing
Thank
else.
you, sir.
Okay. So now in my incognito, I'm logged in as a IAM user, which is my demo user. And in my normal browser, I'm logged in a root user with my root user credential, which is technical training. So now in my this window, I'm able to create test user. Now let's try to delete this test user. I'm just showing you what kind of permissions it is having. If I delete it, am I able to delete it? Confirm and deleting. Yes, user deleted also. So I'm able to create user. I'm able to delete user. Lots of permissions I'm having, but we don't want to provide these much privileges to any of the user to which I'm creating as a IAM user because like the way we learned in our last session, user will have some restricted privileges, not as privileges to manage users, to manage all the resources. In that case, what I'm going to do is now I'm back in my root user account. To my this user, which is the demo user, I'll remove this user from the group from the group. So this user is having this group associated to it, which is administrator access. Now let's go to user group. And in this user group, also that user will be showing. You see this user demo user is a part of that user group. So now what I'll do, I'll remove this user from this group. I just removed it. Now, as I removed it, and now if I come and if I refresh this page, as I refresh this page, you will see the difference in permission because now this user is not a part of group. You see, it says that I am denied list user because this user is not a part of any group. This user is just created, but is not having any sort of permission associated to it. Previously, I was able to do lots of things. And now what I'll do is I will create another user group. Let's create another user group. And this time, this user group will have different sort of privileges. So this time I'll say, and I'll create another user group. So let it give the name of the group as read demo group. This will have just read privileges. read demo group, and now I'll provide read only privileges, or I'll provide perhaps I am read only privileges. I am read only access I'm providing. This user will have only read only permissions, and let's create the group. Okay, so two different groups. One is the demo group, which is having administrator level privileges. Another is the read demo group, which is just having read only privileges. Now we will add a user to this group. This group is there. Now I'll add users, select the user, demo user, and add user. This user is added. It's quite the same thing I'll be able to see under users also. So now if I go under users, if I click on demo user, this user is having I am read only access, and let's see the permissions which it's having. In our previous session, I was showing you, I'll explain it again. This version talks about the version of the language which is used to write this JSON file. This is a mandatory component statement. Effect could be allow or deny. Deny in case if I want to restrict privileges, allow whenever I want to allow the privileges, and whenever I want users to have some allow permissions. This is having generate credential, generate service, get, list, simulate, and simulate principal policy. These are different level of policies. No need to understand at this point. At this point, consider that with these all permissions, this user, whoever user gets this permission, will be able to perform read privileges, nothing other than read privileges, no create, no delete. And this is applied to all the user which falls under the category of IAM, all the IAM user. Maybe there could be 10 IAM users created. This permission will be allowing demo user to read, to perform read operation on all the 10 users, nothing other than that. I'll give a quick pause. Any doubt till here? Okay, I'll take that as a no.
Sir, yeah, we have root user, right? And then we creating IAM account. If we
Yes.
have all the permission to do things, then we should use root user only. Why we are moving to IAM account that we created later?
Okay, and that is
That
what
has some limited scope. Yeah.
right. And that is where I explained in the last session also. In SDLC, there could be different teams. There could be dev team, there could be ops team, and there can be many other teams. Dev team will have separate sort of privileges. Ops team will have separate sort of privileges. Now, all these groups will be managed by either admin user or a root user. Root user is the manager, manages everything.
Mhm.
But I don't want to provide same sort of privileges to development team. I don't want to provide same sort of privileges to operations team. To restrict privileges to different group of users, to different group of employees, we create IAM.
But the same thing we can do from root user, like creating groups and assigning in different groups, like read only, write
Yes.
only, like that. So
Yes.
same can be done with the root user only, or not?
Yes. And that is what I'm doing. Technical training is my root user.
Yeah.
So whatever I am doing, say I have removed the permissions from this group, which is the
Mhm.
demo group, by using my root user. I did not do it with my admin user or any other IAM user. So this browser is my root user browser.
Okay.
And
In other way, you are showing like how others window would reflect if we are
yes,
logging with
absolutely.
DevOps or other
Yes,
category or other, you can say, department wise
yes,
view.
yes.
You are just showing it. Otherwise, as a administrator, we can do everything on this account, root one.
This account, yes. So this normal browser, so there are two browsers. You see, this is normal browser, which
Yes,
is not having a
yes.
black on top. And this
Mm.
is the income. This, the one which you're seeing in the black screen is the perhaps the DevOps engineer account login. And this is the administrator account login. So these are two different logins.
Okay, so as a AWS admin, we are or we should use this root user,
Yes,
not with
absolutely.
the IAM account one.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sir, I have a question. So that the JSON thing, if you can open up that window, please.
Yep.
Yes, this. So the effect is allow and the action listed here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. So does it work like ACL? So whatever the action is allowed would be allowed, and then it would have like implicit deny for the rest of the actions.
You're right. ACL, which stands for access control list. Yes, this is that access control list. Yes.
Okay, so only these actions are allowed because this is the only thing we actually defined when we were creating the access to that user. We haven't defined any other action.
Yes.
Which is read only. So, and whatever is not mentioned would be denied.
Yes, that is how it
Okay.
is. Yes.
Yeah, so it works like implicit deny kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So like the way you have seen a few minutes back, I mean, this screen is as of now showing that this user doesn't have any permission. Why? Because we had removed any sort of permission which were associated with that user. Everything we had removed. Since nothing was there, it was denying all access to all resources, implicit deny. By default, everything is denied. Until unless you are giving some permission, it's denying everything. So it's that. Okay.
Okay. By default, everything is implicit deny. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. That's good to know.
Okay.
Yes.
So now what's happening is I've just assigned IAM read-only access, which is granted to this user. Now you see what difference it's bringing in. I'm just again going to refresh this page. And this is again demo user window. And this time it says that I'll be able to list users. Now I started seeing user, but do I have the permission to create user? Let's see. So now test user and next, create user. What it says, user was not created because no identity-based policy allows to create this user, because this user, which is demo user, does not have permission to create user because it can just read all the user details but not able to create user detail, any of the user. Can it delete it? Let's see. Let's try to delete this user. I'll say user has an active key access and I'll just, okay, this user is having some other privileges which I had granted. So delete user. Let's say confirm. You see, failed to delete user. So it's not able to create any user. It's not able to delete any user. So it's not having permission to delete, but it's having just the permission to read details of the user. It is able to read details of the user pretty much well, but not able to do anything much on top of it. So now this is how you restrict the permission to this user. This is first thing which you must know. Another thing which is very much important for you to understand is now once the user is created, how user is getting all sort of privileges. The first way user is getting permission is by using group, by using the group to which it's attached to. Now, many times what we have to do is we have to, and when we created this group, what we had done was we have attached the permission to this group. We have attached the permission to this group by using a policy which is created by AWS. So now AWS, as you create your account in AWS creates some predefined policies. So this is the policy which I did not create, which we did not create. But it might happen that the permission which is granting AWS could be different from what I actually need. When you start working in an organization, you will try to set a permission as per your own project demands, as per your own team's requirement, as per your own application's requirements. Every time your requirement doesn't match all the permissions which is offered by AWS. So how will you create a policy of your own, and how will you be able to associate that policy to any of the user? Let's understand that. So we learned about users, we learned about user groups. Now I'm going to just skip roles at this point. role is bit complicated thing and I want to go a bit slow, I'll just come to policy. So now these are the default policies. By default, AWS offers 1,411 policies to us, which we can use. Administrator access, Alexa related policies, API related policies, so many different policies AWS allows us. But many times we have to create a policy of our own. Let's create a policy and let's try to learn how policies will be created. We have seen the policy contains those JSON files and everything. So do we need to know those JSON files to create or JSON script or those languages to create policies? No. AWS says that even though if you don't know those JSONs, even though you don't know how to write those JSON scripts, I'll provide you a user interface. To begin with, we will use the user interface. And as we get acquainted with the script and those scripting terms, we'll slowly slip into JSON script also. Now, in order to create policy, I just use create policy, and then it says that I'll be able to use the visual policy editor to create the policy, or I can use the JSON script. So it gives me a kind of predefined template and I just need to write some sort of script on top of it. You see, it gives me a version statement, SID, which is nothing but the statement ID. This is not mandatory. This is a optional one. Effect, it's a mandatory. Action, mandatory. Resource is mandatory. Statement is mandatory, and version is also non-mandatory. It's optional. So now this is a kind of by default template it offers, which you can use if you understand JSON pretty much well, you can write that. But let's skip it for now. We'll come to the visual part. Now, how we can create the services by using Visual Editor? Let's see. So now it gives me the option to choose from which service you want to, which service with the use of this policy, you want to get permission on which service. So click on this. I want to get permission on IAM. So that's what we are learning at this point. So now in IAM, what sort of actions you want to allow? I want to allow list, maybe list user. I'll say list user. I just want to list all the user. This is first permission which I want to give. And I want to give get user. Get user. So just two permissions. Out of all the permissions which I could have granted, I'm just granting two permissions, list user and get user privileges I'm granting. And now effect is allow. You see, it asks me to choose from allow or deny. I'm choosing allow and click on next. Okay, it's asking me a policy name. So I'll say my IAM policy. You can give some description also. My IAM policy. Now the out of 452 service, I've chosen only one service, which is IAM. And in case if you want to assign tag to it, you can do that. And my access level will be limited to list and read. That's it. No other permission. Now create a policy. Now you see what happens when we click on create a policy. I did this. Now how will you filter it by types? So now, as I said you, there are two type of policies. One policy which is offered by AWS and another is user managed policy or customer managed policy. We are user, we are customer. So we can filter it by types also. One is customer managed policy and another is AWS managed policy, which is offered by AWS. AWS, in order to make any changes in this policy, won't ask our approval. But this is something which we as a customer are managing. So as I change the filter by type from all or AWS managed policy to customer managed policy, I can just see my policy listed there, which I created. So this is the easy way to filter it by type. Now, as I click on this plus, now you see the policy is as per my need. There are not much policy or there are not much permission which I'm granting to this user. And if you are noticing, I did not write even a single line of JSON script, but now I'm getting the output in a JSON format. Why? Whatever options I've chosen with the use of Visual Editor is internally getting converted into a JSON script that AWS takes care of. So we no need to worry about that also. It is also having version, statement, SID, and what SID says that you have created by using a visual editor. Effect is allow, and action is I'm for IAM user, I'm listing user, I'm getting user details. That's it, listing user and getting user details, and it is applied to all the resources which is under IAM category, not any other category. Only under IAM category, if I do have 10 resources created, 10 IAM user created, then I'll be able to list all the 10 users. I'll show you how to restrict even that part also. So now let's create that policy.
So
And
do we need to know what list user and get user means?
yes, I mean, you don't need to know, but I can explain you. So now, where did it go? IAM entities attached. Okay, what did I do? Customer managed. Okay, yeah. Okay, so what is list user and get user? Let's understand that thing also. List user is there are say 10 users which is created in IAM service under IAM tag. Say there are under IAM service, say there are 10 different users created. Then this list user will create a list of those 10 user and will be displaying all the 10 user in a list format, like demo user, Terraform user, multiple other users will be displayed to me in my dashboard in the list format. Listing all the users is list user. Get user is more like getting details of that user. You can just get into this and you're just getting this user detail. So what this guy is doing, what this policy is doing, policy is allowing whoever inherits this policy will be getting the permission to list all the user which is created and to get all the users details which is created, to get entire individual user details which is created in that account. These are very simple. These are like more like the whatever it's been prefixed with, you will be getting similar sort of privileges, right? Not that complicated. So
Yes, sir.
now, okay, so now once you get this, you have this permission. Now what we'll do is we have these users. Now what I'll do, I will assign this user. Now this permission was granted. Now I want to show you how a user gets permission in different ways. Now the first way it got by inheriting the permission from a group, which is read demo group. Now I'll add permission to this group by attaching policies directly. This is the second way. First way, user got the permission by inheriting the permission from group. Second, it is getting permission by attaching policies to this user directly. Customer managed policy, choose it, next, add permissions. Now, so you see what it says directly. This is another way. First way is you attached it from the user. Now it might happen that one user comes to you and says that, hey, for the time being, I need some additional privileges than whatever you have assigned there in the group. This is the way it could be done, right? This is the way it could be done. So now
Sir,
this
can you show
user,
it again? Okay, how you attach it?
sure. Let me first remove it because I cannot assign twice. So now what I'll do is I'll just, as of now, this is my user. I'll go back, users, demo user. This is my user. Now
Mm-hmm.
I'll add permission here. Under add permission, there is create inline policy and add permissions. Click on add permission. Now it's asking me three different options. Add user to group, which I've already done. Copy permissions. It's more like copying and pasting. And third one is attaching policies directly. Let's choose this option. Now under this option, there are already all sort of policies are there. AWS managed, customer managed. I have already created a policy of my own, which is under the group of customer managed policy. Now here I'll choose this and I'll say next and add
Is it
permission.
the same policy that we already define or the new one?
The one which we have created just now, my
Okay,
IAM
so,
policy.
okay.
Yes, so I'm
Fine.
assigning that. Now you see there a difference. The one which is managed by AWS is having AWS icon. The one which is created by us doesn't have that icon. So you can just understand it that way also. Okay, so this is the way you will be able to assign permissions. This is the way where you'll be able to remove the permission, delete the permissions, and different ways of assigning permission to a user. Any question till here? Cool.
Not exactly. Just a question. You have shown us like list user, get users. So
Mhm.
on the dashboard, can we see get user, output like something, like how the details are showing for per user?
Yeah, sure. So what I'll do is first I'll remove this permission from this user. So I'm removing this because that had more permissions. So now this user is having only one permission attached, which is my AM policy. So now if I come, let's refresh it back. Here also you will see quite the same thing. Now this is demo user, different user. Okay. So now let's go back. It's having, it's able to see list those users, but not
Mm-hmm.
able to see group permissions. You see lots of things are denied now, which was there before. It's just having list permissions and get permissions. It is able to get the details, but not able to
Okay.
get any of the permissions, console access, nothing, nothing, nothing. You see, permissions are even restricted now than the way it was before.
Yeah, fine.
Okay. So this is
Okay, sir.
one thing. Any question till here? Okay. I take that as a no. Now, another thing which you must understand is MFA. What is MFA? Now we are done till here. Now let's go back to MFA. Now this also we have understood. Another thing is just MFA. Why MFA we need? So first thing which you need to understand is whenever anyone creates a user, then two things is pretty much important. Any of the organization will certainly impose some password policy and will ask you to use some MFA devices because accounts are very secure. The data which is present in that account is very secure. If for some reason your password is breached, if for some reason your password does not follow all the standards which is offered by organization, then perhaps your password could be breached. There could be some theft on the data, on the application content which organizations are hosting at any point of time. So it's pretty much important to impose certain password policy, to impose the restriction of MFA so that even though your password gets breached, your account login will ask for MFA access, will ask for some MFA restrictions. MFA stands for multi-factor authentication. So even though you put in your password, it will ask for certain sort of, I'll say, restrictions, certain sort of limitations. Until unless you grant that, you won't be able to log in. So it's a kind of second security which is imposed on top of it. Now let's see how you can do this. Now first thing, I have to be root user in order to do this. So I'm a root user now. Now here under root user, the first thing which I have to do is I have to set some password policy, and on which account we do this normally. On which account we for sure apply MFA on a root user account, because even though IAM user accounts gets breached, which is not a good thing, even though if it gets breached, access will be very restricted, very limited. For example, if someone takes my demo user credentials, you won't be able to do anything. You just will be able to see what are the users which is created in this account. You won't be able to access my virtual machine. You won't be able to access even my application data. You will be able to do nothing other than just listing down my users. But in case if someone gets my root user credentials, then there will be some bigger thing which you can do. Now, how will you do that? The first thing which you need to understand is how you will manage your root user account. There are multiple ways to manage your root user account. First way is to just to just grant certain restrictions by using the centralized root access for member accounts. This is something to which we call as organizations, wherein your organization will have multiple accounts. This is a bit complicated to begin with. Another thing is account setting. In under account setting, the first thing which it does is you will be able to set this password policy. Account setting, under account setting in IAM window, first thing which I'm seeing is password policy. Here, as I click on edit, I will be able to set some limitations on the password, some restrictions to the password. It says that on IAM default at this point of time, AWS has set certain limitations already. It says that for any of the IAM user, the password should have minimum length of 8 characters, uppercase, lowercase, numbers, non-alphanumeric, never expired password, must not be identical. Some policies is already imposed, but your company's security team says that no, you want a custom policy. So what you do, you create on custom, and now you can choose a value of your own. Now you can change the password minimum length from 8 to 10 and just change the password required strength like the way we do have as of now. Nowadays, if you log into any of the social website, you can just choose the value of your own. You can just select the value and you will be able to do that. Now, for example, I'm changing it from 8 to 10 and it says that require at least one uppercase. Yes. Require at least one number. Yes. Require at least one non-alphanumeric character. Yes. Okay. Require at least one lowercase. Yes. And it says that prevent password users change their own password. Yes. I kept these all values as mandatory. You have to follow this. Without this, you won't be able to survive. You won't be able to create your user. Okay. Now I'm saving changes. As I save changes, by default, any of the IAM user which I'll create will have to follow these restrictions. Without that, they won't be able to follow. Let's save changes and let's see if it reflects or not. I'm saving changes and set custom. Okay. Now let me just create a user. I'll create a user. I'll give a user a name. Let it give as a user, demo user one, provide access, and I want to create IAM user, and it says generated policy. Now I'm giving the policy as say my, and I'm keeping all lowercase, my system, and this is one. So how many characters it is? 2, 5, 2, 6, 8, 1, 9, which is not 10. And I'm just trying to create it. You see, it says that password must be at least 10 characters long, everything. All the values which I imposed there is now reflecting here. I have to just follow all the steps. So that is the way you will be able to impose certain restriction on password policy, which you are assigning to any IAM user while you are creating it. This is the first way of imposing some restriction. Another way is MFA. Like the way I said, you will be imposing MFA specifically to root user, though you will be assigning it to almost all the user which you are creating for your account, but specifically for root user, you have to assign certain level of MFA restriction. How will you do that? In order to do that, you see at the right top, it says account ID, right top for root user, right top account ID. And now, second thing, after you click on that, it says security credential, account, organization, service quotas. Let's click on service credential, security credentials. As I click on that, it gives me
Are we
security credentials.
creating are we creating MFA for root user?
Yes. For now,
Okay.
let's learn MFA, how to create, how to assign MFA to root user. And
Okay.
after you understand how to create MFA for root user, I'll explain you how to create MFA for IAM user also. So yes, for now.
Don't we created it before when we log in first time and you are putting OTP
Did
with
you
the
create it?
MFA?
Because I did not create it recently. So while you created account, did you assign MFA?
Yes.
Oh, you did
It
that?
is asking automatically. Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. So that basically means now it's by default. When I created this account, it was not by default. Then I believe it is now by default. So anyways, now you know. But let's understand in case if you did not create it by default. For example, it might happen that the organization which you join in has already account created in past and they do not have MFA and you are asked to create MFA. Then how will you do that? Let's understand that. Or say tomorrow in case as of now you have set up some OTP thing in your mobile and tomorrow someone asks you, hey, start using some other token, some other hardware token instead of your mobile to generate that OTP. How will you do that? Let's understand that. Okay.
Sure.
So now I clicked on this account ID under drop down. There is security credential. I clicked on that. And now it's asking me to assign a MFA device. As of now, I am having this auth app. This is the Authenticator app. This is the Microsoft Authenticator app, which is installed in my Android mobile. I'm using that. What are the other devices? So assign MFA device. So other than this, there are other devices also, which is Authenticator app. One another is hardware TOTP token. So in organization, we use this a lot because this root user or any of the AWS account is not employee's property. So now this account is your property. You can do that. But organization accounts is not security admin's property. It's organization's property. So they cannot set any of the OTP or any of the maybe authenticator in their mobile and can do that. It's very risky. So what organization does is organization says that you use a TOTP token. What is TOTP token? TOTP token is time. T stands for time. OTP stands for OTP. So T stands for time based one time password. So TOTP, normally they say, hey, I will give you a TOTP token. So TOTP stands for time based one time password, which is a hardware token. So security team has a hardware token. Token generates the OTP at a regular intervals of 30 seconds, 1 minute, they can set it. And they share that OTP only when it's needed. Perhaps these security are kept in a kind of safe. They maintain a safe in bigger organizations, especially if you work in an organization which is share market based organization or which is maybe banking organization. They don't take this token to their home in their bag. No, these token are kept in a safe and that safe is maintained by some security team because this safe is having access to root user with which in case if that is breached, then they can perhaps delete all the data, all the credential, which can be very much risky, which can be very much expensive for any banking organization or for any share market organization which deals with finances. Now, once you do this, you hit on next. Give a device name.
So, sir, this is that little
Right.
device, like
Yes.
a calculator that we use.
Yes. Yes. Like YubiKey.
Oh,
Like
okay,
YubiKey.
okay.
That is, you see, even the image is there. Like this, YubiKey is there. Say, I'll give a name, UBTOTP, and give it next. Now this is going to generate once my UB key will be there. This will that key will have serial number at the backside. I don't have that, but it will have a serial number at the backside. They have to provide that serial number. As you give that serial number for that device, for that specific device, for which there is a unique serial number assigned by the company, whoever manufactures it, it has to generate some 6-digit MFA code once, twice within the interval of 30 seconds. And then you hit on add MFA. And as you hit on add MFA, you will be able to do that, right? So this is the way you will be able to add any third party service device, any UB key for as a MFA for yourself, which is very important for root user account. Now this is for root user account. Now, how will you set a MFA for your IAM user? As of now, I was able to log into this IAM user. So this is my IAM user. Let me just log out from here. And if I try to log in, it won't ask for any MFA. It will just allow me to log in. And I'll say sign in again. And as I say sign in again, it is saying, okay, I want to log in. So demo user, let's give a password and hit on sign in. And yes, it's allowing me to sign in. It's not asking any MFA. What I'll do is I'll set a MFA for this user also. Now, in order to set MFA for this user, I'll go into MFA, onto the user. I'll click on security credential. Now, quite the same way I did for root user also. For root user, I had a drop down. From here, I have selected the option as security credential. For IAM user also, I'm going to click on same thing, security credential. And here it says assign MFA device. I click on this. I'll give a device name. I'll say my Android device. And I'll choose Authenticator app because that is what I have at this point. Click on next. And it's asking me install a device which I already have. I'll say show QR code. Now quite the same process, but I'll show it to you. I'm just opening Authenticator app in the mobile at this point. And as I do that, I'll be able to scan this. And let me just open it. Still opening. Okay. Okay, my authenticator opened. Like the name say, like the message says beside that, open your authenticator app and show QR code to this page. And it's asking me to unlock. Okay, now I'm just adding a device and scan a QR code. I'm just scanning this QR code. Okay, so I scanned it. And as I scanned it, it says account added successfully, but I have so many things. Which one did it add now? Let me just see which one it has added now. I think this one, my Android device. Now it says that give your first MFA code. Now I'm giving my first MFA code, which is 735,174. I'm just seeing in my mobile and typing it. So I just gave my first MFA code, which is 735,174. Now it will generate second MFA code also in the interval of 30 seconds. Yes, it has generated another one, 807,411. Sorry, it's 807.
So, sir, we're only creating MFA for that user right now.
That user only, yes.
Okay.
Not for any other user. Yes. And add MFA. Now what happened is I've assigned MFA to this user also. Now MFA is created. This is for my Android device. Now let me just log out from that user and log back in. You saw now when I
So
logged
we're
out.
using software-based MFA
Yes.
right now.
Yes. Okay. And now I'm signing in. And now it's asking me to put my username, which is demo user, and password. But now this time it did not let me in. It says that put in your MFA code. And now I'm putting my MFA code 269270 and sign in. And now it's allowing me to log in. So now this is the way you will be able to set up MFA code. So now more security you are seeing, password policy and MFA. Any doubt till here?
Also, earlier when you log in the same account, demo user,
Sorry, I'm losing your voice, Ashwin. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I can hear you, but Ashwin, I think, got dropped or something. No.
Join again, sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, I lost you in
Okay.
between, Ashwin.
Yeah, what was happened? Oh,
You
so
were asking a question.
yeah, my question was in the demo user on the right side we can see it's a demo user on the top of the window, right?
Yes.
Earlier it was showing demo user plus technical training like that
Yeah, it's
with
still
the
there.
same.
See, technical training is my root user. Another window. Two different browsers. One browser, technical training.
Yes.
Another
Okay,
browser.
same under same user. Okay. Uh,
Two different browser.
okay.
Black one is demo user, and non-black one is training, technical training. Any question?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, fine. So yeah, demo user can be root user. Demo user can be.
No, demo user is not root user. Demo user is IAM user. We have created
Okay.
users, right?
So okay, I am user. Okay. Right. Right. Fine.
This is the demo user.
But like in the technical training earlier, it was showing the demo user as well, like on the same page,
No, no,
like that.
no, no. It was another another window. Demo user is in this window only. It's not in this window. See
Okay.
this,
I need to
this,
check that.
yeah.
Yeah, it was showing. I don't know why, and maybe
Okay.
I might wrong, but I will see. No issue.
Okay. Any other question?
No, thank you.
Cool. Abhinav, hope you're following it. Sorry, Vaibhav, hope you're following it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Please go through recording. There are uh, the pre-context also. If you are unable to understand, ask me in tomorrow's session.
Yeah.
Okay, enough. So now this is about IAM. For roles, I'll come back because role is bit complicated thing. I'll come back on role part after I explain a couple of other topics. So now I want to quickly touch base on one very important thing. So now whatever we are doing by using IAM user is on AWS Management Console, which is the graphical user interface. But many a times what happens is we don't have privileges to log in even to this management console. For that, what we have to do is we have to deal with command line interface. All those who are pretty much new to command line interface, what is command line interface? Command line interface is the black screen which we normally use. For example, if I have to open my command shell, then then this command shell for me, this is my command shell. This is my command line interface, which is nothing but PowerShell. So CLI is command line interface by means of which whatever I was doing on management console, I'll be able to do quite the same thing with my command line interface also. But for that, certainly I need to provide certain permissions. When I was trying to log in by using the management console, certainly what I had to do was I had to I had to log in by using my username, credential, MFA, blah blah blah, so many things. If I have to use my command line interface for this also, I'll have to log in. But even before I log in, what I have to do is I have to install certain software by means of which I'll be able to access all the resources in AWS Management Console. So what happens basically at this point, if I'll try to access any of the AWS resources, for example, if I'll say um, if I'll say AWS list IAM users, one command is there, and if I hit enter, it says that what it says. Let's see, let's begin with the message. What it says that error argument command invalid choice, valid choice is a blah 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 this thing. And also what it says is I don't have permission to access any account in the first place, right? I don't have permission to access any of the account. Perhaps I executed the wrong command itself. Let me execute the right command. List Sorry, I executed wrong command. IAM user list AWS IAM list users. I was expecting some different error message. Yeah. Now you see it gives me some different error message. What it says, unable to locate credential. You can configure credential by running this. So now when I executed the right command, it says that the credentials are not there. With which user you are trying to log in? I don't know. So now the first thing which we have to do is we have to set up credential. Now, even before we set up credential, the first thing which you have to do is if you did not use this IAM AWS command line interface before, then the first thing which you have to do is you have to install AWS CLI in your machine. In order to install, what you have to do, you have to just look for necessary software. So now, anyone Mac user here? Okay. So now the first thing which I have to do is I have to search for AWS CLI installation in Windows. AWS CLI install in Windows. Okay. So now what it says, it gives me an option getting started with AWS CLI, installing or updating the latest version of AWS CLI in Windows. So now click on this. And as I click on this, it opens me an option to install AWS CLI in my machine. See, it gives me an option to install AWS CLI with my machine, but this is version 1. Let's see which version I do have. Version. It's AWS CLI 2.27. So better use version 2, not version 1.
Sir, you already installed this one in
Yes,
your
for me.
system?
For me, it's installed.
Okay, that's
But I'll
great.
show you. Anyways, I'll show you how to install. And I'll try to reinstall. It will tell me that you have already installed, but I'll follow all the steps. Okay. So now the first thing which we have to do is we have to install AWS CLI version 2. So now in order to install AWS CLI version 2, what we have to do is we have to follow these steps in Windows. We do have steps for Linux, Mac, and Windows also, but you all are Windows user. So now the first thing which we have to do is we have to follow step 1, which is download and run AWS CLI MSI installer for Windows. Let's click on this. As I click on this, you see at the right top, it's downloading the software for me. As it downloads the software, after that, I have to just execute. I have to just click on, because like the way what happens in Windows, it's a wizard which opens to install any software. The package which is hosting all the binaries which is needed to AWS CLI is in .msi format. Okay, so now it's completely downloaded, and now I click on this. Now it's opening a wizard for me, right? It says that welcome to AWS command line. Please wait while the setup wizard prepares to guide you through installation and computing, migrating features states from related application, and then it says next. It says the setup wizard will install AWS command line interface v2. Next, I accept the terms. Next, next, install. And it will install all the packages, all the binaries which is needed for me to start working on AWS CLI. It takes few seconds or few minutes maybe to install this software. Let it take its time. As this status completes, you will end up installing AWS CLI on your computer. Okay, so
Sir, you
any doubt
said
in here?
that we have to have permissions for CLI. So the root user doesn't have permissions either?
This is your Windows machine. I mean, whatever you're doing is like you're installing a software on your Windows. So this is not related to any root user in AWS accounts. Okay, I believe what you asked is, does root user does root user will be able to log in into AWS CLI with root user credentials? Is that what you're
No, I
asking?
think I think you were saying maybe I probably didn't understand. You were saying earlier that you cannot use CLI, you cannot make any changes using CLI. You have to uh, do permissions first.
Yeah. So yeah, I was referring to this. Yes, root user will have all the permissions, but first your your interface, this command line, should understand with which user to which account you are logging in. Now, what you have done, your root user was created, and when you try to log in onto AWS Management Console from your browser, it asks for your credentials. It asks for your root user username, password, MFA. Once you put in all the right values, it logged into the right account. It might happen that your organization is maintaining two different accounts and you want to make changes in one account and not another, and your credentials are different for two different accounts. So you'll open the account in which you want to log in, you will put in your right credential with for the right account, and then you will be able to make changes or create resources in that account. Now, quite the same thing happens here too. Here, when I try to execute this command, AWS IAM list user, which is used to list all the users, which falls under the category of IAM within an account, what it's asking me which account you're talking about. In that account, with which user you want to log in. This credential talks about that. So yes, root user will have privileges, but again, I'll have to provide the credentials of my root user in order to log in. And it says you will be able to provide those credentials. You can configure credential by running AWS configure command. So yes, you can do that. You can pass on your root user credential, but for that, you have to execute the command AWS configure. That is what this message says.
Yes, sir. Understood. Thank you.
Cool.
So for different user, do we need to switch the user for CLI mode?
Yes, yes, yes. You have to switch the user. With one user, you can log in onto into because it's very risky, right? If one user will have access to all the accounts, then perhaps you can do anything in all the accounts. I
Okay.
am the administrator and you are a part of my organization. And you are a developer. Your development says that you have to use only one account. If you are able to make changes in other account also, then it's a kind of security breach. It's a kind of security risk, which I don't want to do. So
Okay.
yes,
And don't we have a CLI feature in the a web page? Normally, with other technologies, we have
yes,
both the features available with on the same page. Web page also offering CLI mode.
very good question. Yes, it's there. To which we call as cloud shell. I'll come to that thing also. So it's there. You see the just beside this bell icon,
Yeah, yeah. Here it
cloud
is.
shell.
So don't we do you know what I can say testing or like that activity here?
Yes, we do that. But for that, what you have to do is you have to first log in into AWS Management Console. What I'm showing you at this point is if you don't have even permissions to log in into AWS Management Console, but still you have to access. For example, if someone asks you to write some script, you won't be able to log in into AWS Management Console to write script. For that, you have to do something which is outside your management console. What I'm showing you at this point is, in case if you have to write script to create resources in AWS console without logging in into AWS console, how will you do that? Understood, right?
Okay, and one more thing, I was asking like demo user is showing as a technical training at the same window earlier.
No,
Um,
no, it's
uh,
not the
uh,
same window. That's what I'm saying. See, here in this window, I logged in as a technical training only. In this user, I will not be able
it's
to
a
log.
it's a root user.
This is root user. Technical trainings is a root user. Demo user is a IAM user. I have used two different browser. One
Hmm.
browser to log in with root user credential, another browser to log in with IAM user credentials. You're getting it, right?
Okay, yes, yes.
Okay, fine. I think we are already on top of time. So let's stop today here only. Tomorrow I'll explain you how to use AWS CLI. But before tomorrow, try to log in and try to install AWS CLI on your Windows machine so that we can see it from there. Today's session, in today's session, I have shown you how to create policy, how to create user, how to add user to user group, how to attach a custom policy to the user, how to attach custom policy to user group, how to create a MFA, how to create MFA for IAM user, how to change the tool or the device which you're using as of now for IAM for your root user to maintain MFA, and how to install AWS CLI. Right? So practice all these things before our tomorrow's session. Sounds good?
Yeah, sir, just the last question. Like it's a DevOps program and AWS certified. So is it automatically cover the AWS DevNet features as well?
Sorry, which feature?
DevNet feature,
What is that? DevNet feature?
DevNet program. Like in this certification path of AWS, we have practitioner starting with, then we have
Okay.
a architect, developer, associate as well. So is it covering developer, associate?
Not
Then we have developer,
it's
engineer, professional, like that.
no, it's not related to developer. It's related to infra. So this will comprise of AWS infrastructure associate certification part. So we are
Yeah,
not going to cover anything which is related to developer.
okay. So are you saying system ops admin associate?
Ops admin associate, yes.
Okay, so this DevOps cover that basic one as well.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Any question?
No. Thank you.
So are we good? Shall we be able to set up AWS CLI and practice MFA and other stuffs before our tomorrow session?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. That's good.
Yeah. Okay. And for 𝗪𝗀𝗪𝗂 again, sorry if I'm taking your name wrongly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining in. I hope you liked it. Let's join in. Let's join in again tomorrow session and we'll see more about AWS
Thank you.
CLI.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.